one call. Just a horrible, horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
TakeaSide this semester. I'm your host, Max McElroy, and we have a great show for you today. With all the action from a variety of sports, be sure to get on Sided.co or the Sided Debates app and post, comment, and pick your side for a chance to climb that leaderboard and win some Amazon gift cards. Users can earn points by having other people vote, comment, and like each other's points. The more engagement a post gets, the more points you earn to inch closer in that $25 Amazon gift card. For our first debate today, I'm joined by Jack McGar and Isabel Scarborough to debate some of the consensus Super Bowl contenders and which of these teams will host the Lombardi in February. Jack, let's start with you.
I think one team I'm looking at right now is the Chiefs. After beating the Broncos in prime time yesterday and making them look pretty bad, I think the Chiefs are real contenders right now. I mean, they've won their last 5. Granted, the Packers win, Jordan Love, whatever. They still won it. They won the game. And they've got 5, I would say, pretty easy opponents in their future. If they win those 5, which I think they will, 5-0, they'd be at 13-4 with the best record in the NFL probably, and get the number 1 seed in the AFC. I think they're by far the best contenders in the AFC.
I have to agree with you. Their next 5 games are mostly division games, and then they come, which is a pretty easy win that they can grab.
Yeah.
And they're on a 5-game win streak, which they started off the season very rough. People thought, oh, the Chiefs, they're done this year. And then they came back and proved that they are not. They've won 5 straight, and I think they can easily have a 10-game win streak to go off and become in the Super Bowl.
I think so too, and I think really the big part of their team right now is their defense. Their defense has stepped up tremendously. I mean, shout out to Daniel Sorensen. He had the pick 6 yesterday. He's had a pretty bad season, so seeing that was great. But I mean, I think their defense has really stepped up. They held the Broncos to 9 points, the Cowboys to 9 points, Raiders to 14, Packers to 7. I mean, they've held some decent teams and pretty good teams to very minimal points. So Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to carry the offense like he usually does. So I really think the Chiefs are probably the best contenders in the NFL and definitely the AFC.
Of course, defense and offense, they're a very amazing team. With Patrick Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey and all of them, they are a powerhouse of a team. And it's so easy that they can continue to go, win the games like they have been doing, and finish off the rest of the season into the Super Bowl.
I think the next team I'm really looking at is the Bills. I mean, I can't seem to figure them out. I really think they're pretenders right now in the AFC. Although the AFC is not the best, I think the NFC is far stronger. But I mean, the AFC does have definite contenders. I don't know if the Bills are one of them right now. I think right now they've lost a lot of games that they should have won, and I really think that they are going on a slide right now. But I think the Bills are definitely pretenders right now.
I'm going to have to agree with you 100%. The Bills are pretenders as much as they could be. You know, they're second in their division. They seem like when you look at them on the top, they have a good record and everything. But they got demolished 30-plus by the Colts. The games they are losing incredibly. And you got to have that consistency to get to the Super Bowl, which I do not think that they have. And I don't think they can come back from the games that they've lost as bad as they have.
Yeah, definitely after the Jags loss to the Bills, I think the Bills have definitely gone on a slide after that. And I don't know if they've really found their identity after that loss. I mean, everyone kind of thought we knew who the Bills were. And then after losing to the Jags, I really think no one really knows how to really judge them anymore. So I would say they're pretenders for sure.
And with the Patriots in their division, the Patriots all of a sudden have came back out and they've been this crazy team again. So they have to now fight them as well to stay in the first of their division, which I don't think they can do. And they're going to remain second and probably drop more through the rest of the season.
And another team I'm looking at too is the Tennessee Titans. After losing Derrick Henry, I don't know if I can call them contenders anymore. I would have to say they're pretenders in the AFC. Without Derrick Henry, the best running back in the NFL and the best running back we've seen probably for decades, I would say the Tennessee Titans are definitely pretenders in the AFC right now.
They're 100% pretenders. They have so many injuries right now, and most of their injuries are their very good star players, and you can only do so much when most of your team is hurt. And because of so many injuries that they have right now, I don't think that they can go any further than they are as of the moment.
And speaking to the injuries, I mean, you can't develop that chemistry that you need with that full team, especially come playoff time, when you haven't had Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, Tannehill all on the same team, you can't develop that chemistry that you need in the playoffs when games are going to come to the wire and you need to rely on those players. So when they're not playing every single game, you can't rely on that chemistry. I would say they're pretenders for sure.
I agree. And of course, when you have easy games like the Jets that you know you need to win and you don't, it drops your team's confidence by so much. And not being able to win simple games like the Jets, they just can't keep on going and get to the Super Bowl. I believe that they're pretenders.
And the last team I'm looking at is the Rams right now. After blowing out the Jags yesterday, 37-7, they definitely looked a little bit better than they are, but I would say after that OBJ trade, they're pretenders in the NFC. I don't think they're better than the Bucs. I don't think they're better than the Packers. I don't think they'll be getting to the Super Bowl.
I have to disagree with you. I think they are contenders, mainly because of their recent trade and getting Von Miller. Their defense is now stacked. When you look at the defense, they have many players, and once they learn to truly work with all those players on the defense, it's over. And as you know, defense can win championships, defense can win games, and their defense is there, and it can be amazing.
I really think with the NFC being as strong as it is, again, I don't think they're better than the Bucs, and I don't think they're better than the Packers, and there are a couple other teams I'd say they go toe-to-toe with. So having that many question marks as far as the NFC playoff picture is concerned, especially not going to the Super Bowl, I don't think they make it out of the NFC for sure.
The Rams are definitely one of the most pretenders and contenders type thing, but I have to stick true with the whole defense. Their offense is a little up and down, but some of the games that they have won, they're winning by 10, 15, 30 points, which is a good game to have. It's a good score to have. And I think that the confidence, especially winning 30-plus with their game yesterday, they finally got that confidence back, and I think that they're going to ride it to the end of the season and ride it into the playoffs.
The biggest question mark for me with the Rams is Matthew Stafford right now, not having really any playoff experience beforehand being with the Detroit Lions. I think he's going to have a hard time getting in the playoffs, especially with the NFC, again, being as hard as it is. I think he's going to really crumble in the playoffs, and I think his team as well around him is going to crumble as well. That's all the time we have, and I think we'll start to see who the pretenders and contenders are in the near future, but we're going to send it to break.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
All right, welcome back to TakeaSide. My name is Aiden Puzzle, and today we're talking NBA betting picks for tonight's games. All right, so the first game I got Minnesota Timberwolves against the I got the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Atlanta Hawks. Both teams, one team is 12-12, the other team 11-12, so these are going to be some close matchups that we got here today. But I see the favor in the Atlanta Hawks side. Even though Trae Young and John Collins have been a dominant pick-and-roll duo all year, I think they really are going to continue to do that and dominate on the paint. Yep. And then I got the Bulls minus 3.5 against the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are the most injury-prone team in the league this year, with Michael Porter Jr. out, with other guys in there, great newcomers in Bones Highland. But I think the Bulls with DeMar, with Zach LaVine, with Nikola Vucevic, that top three will really be dominant. Even though Alex Caruso is out tonight, I still think the Bulls will continue to roll -3. And then for my next game, I have the Miami Heat and the Memphis Grizzlies. I think in this, the Heat have been honestly pretty shaky, along with Bam Adebayo being out for the past couple of days and Jimmy Butler being doubtful for tonight's game. I still think guys like Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry will really come in to find their own, and along with Duncan Robinson from the three. But I think Memphis without John Morant is going to be a lot harder to play against. And so for my next game, I have the one and only Milwaukee Bucks, the reigning champs, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And today is also Giannis's 27th birthday, so I think that'll give him a little spark. Along with that, the Bucks are in their past 10 games have won the 9 out of have gone 9-1 in their last 10 games. And along with that, they're a great home team. And so I think -6.5 will be kind of a stretch. It might be a little close, but I think the Bucks edge it out. And then for my last and final pick, I got the Phoenix Suns against the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs have been a pretty decent team so far, but they only got like 8 wins. And they played a great game against the Golden State Warriors 2 nights ago. But I think the Suns will be too much for them. The Suns at home are 10-2 this year. And along with that, in the past 10 games, they've won 9 out of them. So I think the Suns, although their win streak has ended last night, I think they'll continue to get back on track and be dominant. All right, thank you. We're going to send it to break. Did you know 9/10 of all solid waste in the United States does not get recycled? Although 75% of America's waste is recyclable, we only recycle around 30% of it. Recycling plastic saves twice as much energy as it takes to burn it. On the other hand, Americans use 65 billion aluminum soda cans each year. There is no limit to the number of times you can recycle an aluminum can. While recycling 2 aluminum cans can save the same amount of energy it takes to power a PC for a single workday. Now think about this. Each time you decide to throw a plastic bottle away into a trash can, if you decided to take the extra step and try and find the closest recycling bin, you may be the difference in our world tomorrow. Take the extra step to recycle.
Welcome back. For our next debate, we're going with the NFL again, but we're talking about the best team in the AFC East. The conference started the season off underwhelming with the Bills as the only winning team. However, since Week 7, the Patriots are red hot. They have rattled off 6 straight wins with both the highest scoring offense and the scoring defense in that same stretch. The Dolphins are also a team that has recently just caught fire, winning 5 straight games and looking completely different than how they started the season. And of course, the Bills have remained one of the top teams in the AFC. Currently, the AFC East is led by the Patriots, but the matchup tonight between them and the Bills will give an insight to which team is the king of the division. Justin, which team in the AFC East is best?
Hey, yeah, I'm choosing the Bills here, and this is a no-brainer for me. The Bills, I think, have the best offense in the division, and it's not even close. Their offensive firepower is insane. I mean, they have Diggs, Sanders, Beasley, Knox, Davis. This offense can't be stopped. Blake, what do you think?
Okay, I agree the Bills have a loaded offense. I will give you that. Such a loaded offense that they only scored 6 points against the Jaguars. Congrats. You lost to the Jaguars. That's my thing. And the Bills offense has great names, great players, sure. Inconsistency, though, is just as high on that team as the quality of their players on their offense. With the Patriots, they've got Mac Jones, who, mind you, is a rookie with a 70% completion percentage, which is one of the highest in the NFL. He's thrown for over 2,500 yards already this season, and he's got one of the top teams in the NFL of late with the offense that they have had. They beat the Browns 45-7, embarrassed them, beat them 45-7. Their only loss inside of the AFC is to now the Red Hot Dolphins, and it was the first game of the season. The Patriots are coming. They've won 6 in a row. Bill Belichick is a great coach. Mac Jones is on his way to being a great quarterback. No one's slowing down the Patriots. I'm sorry. They're going to win this division, and I wouldn't even be shocked to pick them to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's no lie there about that Jacksonville game. I mean, that game was indeed horrendous, but I really think this team has found a way back. I mean, we saw it on Thanksgiving. Josh Allen had a great game throwing for over 250 yards, had 4 touchdowns, and that whole team as a unit, I mean, they look back. It's like they got that boost that they really needed, right? And for the Patriots, their only really credible win is that Browns game at home, right? I mean, maybe their win versus the Chargers, but besides that, their only 2 big-time games was versus the Cowboys and Bucks, which they both lost to.
I won't disagree. Big losses to big teams. They also beat the Titans pretty handedly, who I think is still one of the best contenders in the NFL. But you have to think about it. When it comes down to winning games that you should win and losing games that maybe you shouldn't lose, the team that loses the most games that they shouldn't lose is the Bills. They lost to the Steelers with a geriatric Ben Roethlisberger playing quarterback. The defense has been inconsistent at times. The offense is inconsistent at times. You know with the Patriots, you're getting consistency week in and week out. And tonight, I think that's going to hold. I think they're going to go and they're going to win this game tonight. And the Patriots are going to take this division lead and they're going to hold it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. We get to see this game tonight, which I'm very excited for. Fortunately, I think the Bills are going to win tonight by 2 touchdowns easy. Easy 2 touchdowns tonight at home. I really like it. They also play against each other later, I think in like 2 weeks.
from
2
now,
weeks,
yep.
right? So we'll see that game in New England as well. I just want to read off a couple things here. For the Bills on offense, they're number 4 for yards per game at 389. Patriots are 15th. Okay, and on defense, they're number 1 with yards allowed at 275. Patriots have had a great defensive year. There's no doubt about that, but Bills are number 1 there, and they have 21 sacks in 11 games and second in the league at holding running backs per yards per carry.
Okay, here's my thing with the Bills is everybody thinks the Bills should be the best team in the NFL. No one is discrediting that. Going into the season, they were one of the top teams to make the Super Bowl. Okay? Now they're losing games that they shouldn't lose. That's my thing. I'm worried about the long run with the Bills, whereas the Patriots, when they played against the Jets, they put up 50 points and dominated. They beat them twice. They shut out the Falcons, a team that they should have beat handedly, and they did. When the Patriots are supposed to win games, they do, and they do it the right way. It's hard to shut out teams in the NFL, no matter who you're playing. And to do that 2 weeks ago, it's great. I think the Patriots are just now catching their stride, and they're going to be even better in the long run.
Yeah, here's the thing about Mac Jones, though, right? He's a rookie. And that being said, he's too young, he's too inexperienced, he doesn't have that playoff experience under his belt, right? We saw what happened to Josh Allen his first time going to the playoffs. I feel like the same thing could happen here with Mac Jones. I just don't know how long him and the Patriots can last. For the Bills, their last 4 games of the season is versus the Panthers, at the Patriots again, the Falcons, and then the Jets. That's 3 out of the 4 guaranteed wins.
I can't disagree with that. I think we also need to keep an eye on the Dolphins as they come along at the end of the season.
Sure.
Tonight's game should be a fun one. I think it's going to keep us entertained. With that, we're going to send it over to a quick break. Let's see how the AFC East turns out.
For our 4th and final debate, we are going to be switching over to MLB baseball. With the offseason starting, Jackson Reed and Chad Cushing are going to discuss some offseason moves, as well as the MLB lockout and what it means for the season. Jackson, what are your thoughts?
Thank you very much, Max. And everybody, we got a new guy on the show, the baseball guy, Mr. Chad Cushing. So a lot of good stuff happening in the MLB right now, a lot of good free agent signings, some not so good free agent signings. But let's start with the big ones. First off, guy with the most money in his bank account right now out of all the free agents, Corey Seager, 10 years, $325 million. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great deal. Obviously, the Dodgers, Corey Seager, a guy that they drafted and brought up throughout the organization. Believe it or not, Corey Seager is 4th in all time in home runs at Globe Life Field, and he hasn't played a single game for the Rangers. So that playoff run, everybody remembers.
That's a new stadium.
I know, but still, that playoff run just there, 4th all time in home runs at Globe Life Park. Corey Seager was, without a doubt, the second best shortstop available on the market behind Carlos Correa. He's a left-handed guy. He's got a sweet swing. It's going to match well with that ballpark. The last 2 years combined, he has had some health injuries. I believe he was hurt all of 2018 with Tommy John surgery at shortstop. The last 2 years, a slash line of 306, 381, and 545. That's just elite left-handed power. He has a career 131 OPS plus, which leads all shortstops in Major League Baseball since 2016. So I think it's a great signing.
I think without a doubt it's a great signing, but the Rangers pushed all their chips to the front. They grabbed Simeon and they grabbed Seager, which makes a great middle infield, one of the best in baseball for sure. So you're gonna have to see how that all acts well and see what happens out there in Texas. I mean, that's a team that's kind of been in the bottom, but they've got a couple good prospects coming up. They got Jack Leiter in the draft. This is going to be an exciting team, and maybe not the youngest team, but this is a team that's going to be up and coming. And I think with how competitive that AL West is going to be, I think the Rangers definitely have a shot. I wouldn't rule them out. Next signing. We're sticking with the Rangers. 7 years, another $125 million shelled out to Marcus Semien. What are your thoughts about that one?
I think that Marcus Semien, the past 3 years, has flown completely under the radar. Since 2019, Marcus Semien leads all of Major League Baseball in F4, Fangraphs WAR. That's more than Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout. You name it, he's better than him. He's number one. He's been the model of consistency. 2019, played 162 games the full season. This past year, 162 games the whole entire season. So I think if you're the Rangers, you're seeing bringing in Semien and Seager as an opportunity to set your middle infield for the next 7 years for Semien and then 10 years for Seager, and you're saying, we're coming. We got these prospects coming up. We got Josh Young, Cole Winn, John Foscue, Sam Huff, Ezekiel Duran. They're all debuting this next year. It's like everything is coming together for the Rangers, and they saw this offseason as like, okay, let's make it happen. And as an Angels fan, I'm very scared.
The AL West is going to be scary competitive, and I think the Rangers are doing the right things and making the right moves. Marcus Semien, I feel like a lot of guys in Toronto that aren't Vladimir Guerrero Jr. fly incredibly under the radar. We don't ever really talk about how good Bo Bichette is. We don't rarely ever talk about how good Marcus Semien was. And so I think this is a good signing also. I mean, we're not really disagreeing yet, but it's coming, trust me. But I think the Rangers are doing the right things, and I think they have the right pieces and they have the right prospects, and I think this is a team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with coming soon. The next one, Javier Baez to the Detroit Tigers for 6 years, $140 million.
Obviously, Carlos Correa and the Tigers, they were floating around in the offseason. It was like, is Correa really going to go to Detroit? It's not going to happen. Correa's commanding. I believe the Angels offered him 10 years, $370 million. The Tigers aren't ready to put that money out yet. But they got one of the better shortstop guys in a really deep class. I like Javier Baez. I think that he's a good mix of defense and offense, and especially this last year, once he went to New York, he put up some really good numbers. After he got traded from Chicago, 299, 371, 515 slash, 141 OPS plus. Those are elite offensive numbers. We're talking about Seager, a guy who had a 131 OPS plus as the best hitting shortstop in baseball the past 5 years. So obviously, Baez is a guy that strikes out a lot.
A lot.
And to some people, I'm sure you had that feeling, striking out a lot is not good.
Yeah, you're right.
But Javier Baez, third in shortstops in isolated power. It's a metric that output of how many runs and bases you provide per at-bat coming up to the plate. He's got a big stick, but sometimes that big stick misses the ball a lot.
A lot. I would have personally rather saw the Tigers invest in pitching. $140 million is a lot of money, and I think if you're Detroit, you have Casey Mize coming up, or he's played a little bit in the league this year or last year. You got to invest in pitching. I think that's where it's got to start. They have a good young core, a good young outfield with Baду, Grossman, and Castro. This is it's a solid team. It's not great. But I think it had to start with pitching, and it didn't. So I'm not a huge fan, but Javier Baez is a great player. We all know that. He cuts the strikeouts out. This is a team that can really start to put the pieces forward and invest in pitching. And speaking of pitching and investments, Max Scherzer, 3 years, $130 million. I am not a big fan of this signing. I'm really not. And my reasoning behind that is Max Scherzer's old. He's old. I mean, 3 years for a guy that's going to turn 37 by the time the contract's over, and you're paying him $130 million? You feel like you could have broken it up and invested in two pitching guys, one younger, one not, but instead they went all in and got Max Scherzer. I'm not a huge fan of it. I love the narrative that you can roll out DeGrom, Scherzer, Taijuan Walker, Carlos Carrasco, depending on who's healthy and whatnot. But I love that narrative, and it sounds cool, but it's like, I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm being honest.
I understand your apprehension, and especially because towards the end of the season, Scherzer was dealing with a lot of arm fatigue in the playoffs, and he wasn't able to pitch in the Dodgers' most important game because he was used as that closer and against the Giants in the ninth inning, and it just blew out his arm. So yes, he is getting old. He was the best pitcher available, and if you're a Mets fan, you look, the Angels and Dodgers are right there. It was Angels, Dodgers, and Mets to get with those final three for Scherzer. But the Angels and Dodgers said, we're going to give you 2 years. And the Mets said, you know what? 3 years on the table. And he signed instantly. I think as a Mets fan, you got to think, you're paying that money for the next 2 years, and you're trying to win these next 2 years. And if it doesn't happen, it's just not going to roll out. Steamer, one of the top projection sites for pitchers, all these guys, all the major league teams use it, predicts him to have a 3.03 FIP and a 5 F4. So that's a fantastic season. That is certainly worth $40 million. So I think it's a good signing for a win-now Mets team. That's what I think.
I mean, they are definitely a win-now team. We'll have to see how that goes. But I'm going to skip Robbie Ray because I think we both agree that that is just not a good signing. He's not worth the money.
Yeah.
He's not worth the money.
I agree.
Last one.
Okay.
Marcus Strowman to the Cubs. I love this. The Cubs need a guy with swagger, ladies and gentlemen. They need a guy with swagger. They need a guy who's like strutting it off the mound after fanning some guy. Marcus Strowman is that guy. I understand $71 million is a lot for a guy with swagger, but I'm telling you right now, Marcus Strowman's coming off one of his best seasons in New York. They already have Kyle Hendricks. Wade Miley is still a productive pitcher, and Alec Mills and Albert Alzolay are two good guys in the back half of their rotation. And, I mean, they have Contreras. David Bodie's another guy. Patrick Wisdom, a great young up-and-comer for Chicago. I'm a fan. I think Chicago might be building something. I don't think the Central is their division to win this year. I think that you have to look at the Brewers and the Reds.
Sure.
But I think Chicago, I think they made the right move here. I like it.
The contract isn't bad. The fact the Cubs are the one who signed him is what's bad. The Cubs need to rebuild. Their fans and the management and you are trying to hold on to that 2016 magic of all the Baez, the Rizzo, the Bryant, all these guys that everybody in Wrigleyville loves. It's over. It's done for. And signing Strowman, that kind of money and putting that money out for him to just waste away in Chicago, I don't think it's a good signing, and I think they're going to regret it when a couple of these rookie contracts are coming up to buy out arbitration. I think they're going to want that $20 million a year.
I love Mark. I love that signing, and it's such a good contrast between Strowman and Hendricks with your 1-2 guys. But that's all from us. We really appreciate you. We're going to throw it over to Max for the close.
And that wraps it up for our semester here. Thanks for watching. Once again, be sure to create an account to post and comment on a wide variety of sports and debates. Check out Sided.co or the Sided Debates app for fresh content daily. Also, be sure to follow us on our Twitter at TakeaSideKU. On our Twitter, we post content from our shows, as well as post other debates for everyone to vote and comment on. Our Instagram is also at TakeaSideKU. And on top of our show's content, we're going to do live streams and breaking down our opinions on some of the breaking news around the leagues. So be sure to check that out. And just quickly, I want to give a shout out to Jasper. She will not be joining us after a year on the show. She's been our director here for a year, and she will be leaving and graduating this December. But for all of us here at TakeaSide, thank you for watching, and we will see you next semester.